Best look, contested three.
Contested three. Give him some credit there, trying to get to that sweet spot. We've seen all the guys today with a little side, not a step back, Chris, but a side step, trying to get the shot to go.
So the Spurs, 27 wins on the season. 21 of those wins have come when LaMarcus Aldridge scores 20 points or more. So think about that. 21-5 when he does it, and then 6 and a lot more losses when he does not.
Well, I think what we're seeing now, since LaMarcus has been there, each year he's gotten better and better and more comfortable with the system and what he needs to get done. And secondly, for me, I think Pop now understands that one team he has may shoot more threes, one team may play inside out, but now he's found the next version of so-called Tim Duncan where you play through somebody down the stretch.
Yeah, I think Aldridge has found his niche right there in San Antonio. It took some time coming from Portland, different system, different style of play. But you can see when he's in his groove, they play very fluid offensively. Then you add DeRozan back to that group. They're very tough to beat offensively. They move the ball very well.
Speaking of a team finding their groove, Memphis and Boston, and when Uncle Drew is distributing,
then you're watching.
Ooh, man, that's a different level for Boston.
Ooh.
Good pass. Around
the back in traffic.
Marcus Smart, 20 points, 6 rebounds.
Timely shot maker.
How about Jaylen Brown? Here's a guy that runs the floor and hustles.
Oh, he's had a lot of those poster-like dunks lately, too.
Mike Conley, been doing it like he's do it for TV for years. Left open outside.
Very underrated point guard, man, playing very well.
Justin Holiday also connected. Memphis takes the 1-point lead. We move to the second half. Conley again, like you said, consistent.
Yeah, he's been consistently good throughout his entire career. You see him here knocking the 3 down, but also a very good defender, very good facilitator.
Memphis takes the lead with this 3. They shot 45% from outside. But it's Uncle Drew time. Kyrie Irving in his bag.
Of tricks.
Leaning,
left hand, right hand. Shoot the 3, you go under the screen, in your eye.
He scored 20 points in the third quarter, and the Celtics needed it. We saw him distributing earlier, but he's a finisher, he's a closer. Untucked jersey Kyrie is the worst of them all.
The confidence down the stretch to be a closer, Chris, to your point.
38 points, 11 assists. That's the second time this week that we saw Kyrie Irving with a huge scoring game, but also double-digit assists. We also see the Celtics airing a lot of their grievances in public, and Kyrie Irving at the very center of that. It seems like it's healthy for them, though, the way that he's playing after he says the things that are on his mind. Here's the most recent thing, how he had to call LeBron James, and he wanted to be that guy that led the Cavaliers to a championship. He wants to be that leader. He wants to be all of that. And it seems as if he's trying to figure out that role with the Celtics. Do you like what he said there?
Yeah, I wish he would have kept the LeBron part, to himself a little bit. But I think what Kyrie was trying to say is that he handled the situation in one game where he was showing up his teammates, Hayward and Tatum, getting that last shot the wrong way. He handled it the wrong way as a leader, and he wanted to call LeBron and get some leadership advice, which I think is a mature thing to do. But I think in the situation where he's going back to basketball, him getting his teammates involved, I love that Kyrie. We all know Kyrie can score with the best of them.
Right.
We've seen that throughout his whole career, been one of the best scorers on the planet. But for him getting guys involved, making them feel more comfortable, I like seeing him that way.
I love the message, Chris. It's the timing of the message. And I think that's why a lot of people were a little caught off guard. If it sounded like he was throwing his teammates under the bus. But the mature Kyrie, understanding what LeBron was trying to teach him back in his days in Cleveland, you get it. Now Boston kind of cleared the air a little bit. He comes back the next game, gets the double-double. Now it's time to move on.
Kyrie with 38 points, but how about upping that 2 more to 40? D'Angelo Russell tied his career high as the Nets remain one of the hottest teams in the league. That's up next. You're watching Game Time.
It's fresh, and this is Courtside Certified. So for Monday's matchup, we have Kenneth Faried against James Harden. You guys gave James the win with 64%, but I'm rolling with Kenneth Faried. Maybe because he's in Brooklyn, he's trying to step his style up. He came through with the Givenchy jacket and the kicks to match. He put in just a little more effort than James did, so I'm rolling with Kenneth. For Tuesday's matchup, we had DeAndre Ayton against Karl Anthony Towns. You guys gave Cat the win with 64%, and I agree with you. Both of these fits are pretty laid back, but Cat's fit had a little more flair. For Wednesday's matchup, we had DeMarre Carroll against Kyrie Irving. Now, you guys gave Kyrie the win with 86%. Kyrie went pretty safe here, pretty routine for him. Hoodie, camo pants, Nike Easy 2s. Now, DeMarre, I think DeMarre went with the mannequin fit.
People think I'm a rapper because of what I wear sometimes.
That's doing too much. I agree with you guys. Kyrie got the win. For Thursday's matchup, we have Paul George against Michael Beasley. You guys gave PG the win with 56%, and I'm rolling with you. He came through with the Givenchy sweater, the Reggie Phenom pants, and the Christian Louboutin sneakers. Also, shout out to Paul George for hearing me say that I liked his NASA Nike suit and sending it to me the next day. My man, appreciate you. So my favorite look of the week comes from Russell Westbrook. Now, we've seen players bring their kids to the post-game interviews, but we've never seen the players walk through with their kids in the pregame. Shout out to Russell Westbrook. Each week, we'll keep bringing you the hottest fits in the NBA. Keep voting and stay fresh.
Next week, we got to see Boogie with his Coogee on.
Boogie! Must be Christmas, baby. Welcome back, baby.
Welcome back.
3D, Carlos Boozer, I'm Chris Smiles. Thanks for kicking it with us.
I had to call Bron, and tell him, I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to be at, my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and, the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people. And Bron was one of those guys that came to Cleveland and tried to really show us what it's like to win a championship, and it was hard for him.
Kyrie Irving on Wednesday night, trying to give folks a perspective on where he is now versus his time in Cleveland when he was the young star playing alongside LeBron James, and trying to give context to the comments he made during the 3-game losing streak when he was sort of complaining about not getting the ball and about the young guys he was playing alongside. I'm going directly to you with this because you know Kyrie very well, obviously, from your Cavaliers days. What did you think when you heard this the first time?
To be honest, I didn't hear any negative in it. And I was somewhat surprised that people went as negative with it as they did, in terms of he's trying to take a veiled shot at the young guys again, and that he's trying to be more passive-aggressive. I didn't see any of that, and I don't believe that relative to Kyrie. I think he was being very transparent. Like, look, I realize that I had an opportunity there that I didn't embrace and appreciate. What I think is different, though, and I think is complicated for Boston, LeBron was a multi-time MVP and a multi-time champion when he showed up, and he was clearly our leader, and he was 8 years older, 7 years older than Kyrie. In this situation, Kyrie and those other guys are very much more contemporaries. Mm-hmm. Kyrie is not a multi-time MVP, and they got one game away from the finals without him. So for him to come back, for Gordon to come back and introduce that much ball dominance, it was naturally going to take these young kids who have never played any other role than the role they just got done playing for that team. It's going to take them some time to find themselves. In Kyrie's case, he was sold. It's his team when he re-signed with us. And he recruited an entire team of free agents that all wanted to come. And then overnight, it was LeBron's team when LeBron decided to come back. Kyrie literally had a team taken away from him. Those young kids were never at that level yet. And so I think it's an interesting thing to see how Kyrie is now sort of become LeBron in this circumstance, and he thinks of himself in a weird way as the old head, when in reality, he's still just a kid and he's just figuring it out, and people need to just let him figure it out because his heart's in the right place.
Yeah. Oh, man, you said the word kid, though. That's what set him off when he was playing with LeBron. He bristled at the idea of being condescended, it seemed like. At least
but I'm really old.
Exactly. But I think the authenticity with, in his words ring true for a lot of people. The tough part is the one place where they might not is in that Boston locker room with some of those younger guys, because they are looking at it through a similar prism that Kyrie had when he was in Cleveland when LeBron came back. I don't know if anybody deals with millennials or young people. Try convincing them that their reality is not everybody's reality. Good luck. And these guys played so well last year when Kyrie and Gordon Hayward were not in the mix. They have no reason to come back and believe that's not possible again for them. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Rozier, they come back into this season with a confidence that you only accrue by doing what they did last year when these guys were out. So if you're Kyrie, you have to tread very carefully on the emotions and the confidence of these young guys, because they've got something to hold on to that you didn't have when LeBron came back to Cleveland. There had been no playoff success for Kyrie. All he was operating on was a vision of what he could do, kind of a blueprint of what he thought he could be as a player and what that team could be in the future. These guys have something in the pocket already. You got to be conscious of that and acknowledge that, to me, if you're Kyrie, when you're dealing with these young guys.
Brad Stevens was asked about this today, and he seemed to appreciate Kyrie's reflectiveness and his, the word he used was accountability as well. It was really interesting. The comments came right after Kyrie closed the game for them and sort of reasserted himself as one of the great closers in the league, reminded his teammates perhaps as well why he wants the ball at the end of games. I wonder, though, is this a thing that could fester? Is this a conversation that needs to be had now?
I don't think so. And the reason is holding yourself accountable in the way he did gives he and Brad the ability to make it go away very quickly. Look, here's what I meant. Here's what I said. It's over.
Right.
And the way it goes away even quicker is if you stop talking about who the leader is and just go play basketball. It's very difficult. You mentioned the fact that those young guys being millennials, right? I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it has to do with you're 19 and 20 and the only role you've ever known how to play is being the guy who helps carry you to the conference finals. And then you're told, yeah, that was good, but we need you to sacrifice now. That's a whole lot easier for a 28-year-old who's worn different hats in his career than it is for those young guys. So this was naturally going to take time, and this was naturally going to be Brad's biggest challenge. Brad's never entered a year with this kind of expectations as a coach. He's never entered a year with this many mouths to feed. So it takes time for them to find their stride, and that's to be expected.
It's a really interesting dynamic, and great players often fall into this trap of talking about their guys and their team because they're asked about it all the time. But there's always something that's a little off about that to me, declaring it yourself. The great players don't necessarily need to announce that.
Kyrie's actions will speak louder than any of his words.
Absolutely.
If he just continues to do what he does best, and that's play his guts out and play for the greater good. It's not like I've never felt like Kyrie was out there playing for the spectacle of Kyrie. Even if his game suggests that's what he's doing because it's so flashy, I never got the feeling that he was that kind of guy. Certainly not when LeBron came back. He slid into his role, even if he did it begrudgingly. He slid into the right role on those teams because he understood what was at stake.
Right.
He's got to allow some of his younger guys to evolve in their roles doing the exact same thing.
So you literally made me laugh when you said the spectacle of Kyrie because this is a guy who can go wrong foot, left-handed floater in the paint over a big man to win a game. That's a spectacle in and of itself.
Yeah.
Where I think you've seen him showing real leadership, though, and he gets very little credit for this. He has picked up his end of the deal on the defensive side of the ball by leaps and bounds over where he was before. He's much better at the point of attack in a pick and roll than he's ever been. He's buying into everything that they are asking everyone else to do. He's just learning how to vocalize it.
Boston's lead is now 14 over the Memphis Grizzlies on their home floor tonight. They lead that game 44-30 and 5-2 so far for Kyrie.